So hi and welcome my Varieties 1 students to a new lecture, and this is actually the last lecture in this semester. We will be actually looking at other items related to spoken language in terms of uh, you know languages, expressions, and also we will be learning about something called paralinguistic features or sign language. Okay, so let's get started to find out more about it. First of all, we have this term uh, that is called icebreakers. Okay, so or phatic sentence initiators. Okay, what is an icebreaker? In English, there are phrases used at the beginning of sentences. Why? To initiate conversations, okay, especially in situations where silence needs to be broken down for fatigue or social reasons, okay? So, this also happens like when we meet people the first time, and so we sometimes don't have many in common, like we don't know them, we don't know like what topics we can initiate the conversation, so we usually actually tend to use expressions of ice breaking. Okay, we will you will actually see some examples in the following slides. So, thus, to start a conversation, English people are obsessed with phrases and remarks about constantly changing and unpredictable English weather. Okay, so most English people actually, when they want to, initiate a conversation or when they want to, get to know someone, a stranger, or they usually actually talk about weather. Okay, this is actually so known about them. So they would actually say, nice weather, isn't it? Okay, so they usually start or initiate a conversation uh, by posing a question. Okay, and the question is most of the time about the weather. Okay, so nice weather, isn't it? Okay, typical English weather. This is also another expression. Okay, especially that England is known for its um, so as I have like explained earlier that England is a country that is known for its unsteady and changing weather. So sometimes it's very, for example, cold in the morning and then hot in the afternoon, and then very windy or foggy at night. So they have actually 4 seasons in the day. So when this actually happens, so they would, for example, initiate their talk with an expression like a typical English weather, all right, or simply it's freezing today, all right. So these phrases are therefore vital to break silence or metaphorically to break the ice and enable people to communicate and have social human community. Another equally important aspect is abbreviations and acronyms. A word is abbreviated by retaining its first 2 or 3 initials or without the last letter. For example, department is abbreviated or shortened to DEPT, DEPT, and full stop. Professor is also shortened as prof and full stop. So words can be acronymed by omitting all but the first letter, which is always capitalized. For example, United Kingdom, UK, Post Office, PO. Okay, so here we didn't actually take the 3 or 4 first letters of the word, but we rather actually kept the first initials or the first letters, and then uh, we separated them by means of a full stop. Okay, and this is actually the difference between abbreviation and acronym. So abbreviations and acronyms are widely used as well in spoken English, and the function of using abbreviations and acronyms is to reflect a preference to shorter forms and demonstrate their popularity in English. And this is actually applies both in written and spoken English. So a speaker in a conversation wouldn't say I went to the United Kingdom. He would rather say I went to UK last week. Okay, or have you ever been, for example, or for example, my you know, a friend works for the PO. Okay, so he doesn't have to say he works for the post office. All right. Sign language or paralinguistic features. Okay, semiotics is the study of signs. Remember, semiotics is the study of signs, the way how we use our our body language. All right, for example, our hands gestures, our facial gestures, and so on. So it is another distinguishing aspect of spoken English, because remember that such paralinguistic features are not used in any other variety, like in legal text or in newspaper article. We don't actually have these features of, paralinguistic aspects. Sign language always accompanies spoken language. Sometimes it replaces it, as conversant communicate by signs, not by words. Sometimes we can carry on almost like a whole conversation by means of paralinguistic features. I could look at you, using certain facial expressions, and so on, you would understand what I mean. Okay, if I am happy, sad, agree or disagree, and so on. And this is why it is considered as a group of paralinguistic features, that is to say, things that cannot be expressed by language. Sign language is a term including the following types, and this is very much important. First, facial expressions. The signs on the people's faces can be quite expressive. For instance, a red face with pop eyes means anger, while a red face with a normal look implies shyness or diffidence. Smiling is a favorable expression, whereas frowning is unfavorable. A yellow face is an expression of fear, while a pale face is a sign of sadness or illness. Another aspect of paralinguistic features, head shaking. For agreement, the head is nodded up and down softly, but for disagreement, it is nodded from right to left. We also have hand gestures. Hands are usually used to gesture the direction, consent, rejection, and unconscious movement accompanying speech, and many other meanings. Hands are used to replace spoken language for deaf and dumb people. Body movement. Raising the shoulders up means refusal to do or say something, while turning one's back to another speaker is a sign of ignoring him or them. Crossing one's legs before one's superior is completely unacceptable. Silence also part of the paralinguistic features. Silence is meaningful. It can imply agreement, disagreement. Um, these implications are usually decided by the social context, and they may actually differ from one culture to another. It must be pointed out that these semiotic paralinguistic features of body language are not always considered universal. Rather, some of them are culture specific, associated with particular social communities and groups. To conclude, sign language is a part and important parcel of and indispensable to any piece of interpersonal communication. It is one of its cornerstones which contribute to the speciality of conversation as a distinctive variety of English.